Hey everyone, how do you take 14 years of experience in claims, field operations, and business development and turn it into a platform that empowers adjusters across the nation? Today's guest has done just that. In this episode, we're talking about leadership, resilience, and the evolving future of our industry with the founder of the Adjuster Hour, Natalie Arroyave. Hey everyone, welcome to the Adjuster Coach Podcast. I am your host, Pablo Gonzalez, adjusting career coach and someone who spent over 25 years in the industry helping more than 12,000 people become licensed adjusters. This show is where we share stories, lessons, and strategies to help you understand not just how to get started, but to thrive in the adjusting world. If you enjoy this show, please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review on your favorite podcasting platform. It helps more adjusters discover the content and grow alongside you. Well, Natalie, first of all, thank you very much for being here. Let's get started. You've been in the industry for about 14 years, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And I'm just kind of curious, how do you say your last name?
It's Arroyave. I get that a lot. It's perfectly fine. It's a mouthful. So
Yeah, we have a mutual friend in common, Julian Badillo. That's what I call him, Badillo, but everybody calls him Badillo. So I imagine, I would say your name as Arroyave, but I imagine,
yes. No, that's right. That's right. I just can't say it right.
I imagine your side of the family destroys that last name. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm French. My maiden name is French. And so
what's your maiden name?
Barbier.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course, because you're in Louisiana, right?
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Louisiana. I love New Orleans. I lived about an hour east of there in Diamond Head, Mississippi, and we'd go visit all the time. New Orleans is a great, great place. So Arroyave is obviously Hispanic. So that's your hubby's?
Yes.
Where's he from?
He's he's part Colombian. My father-in-law is from Colombia, and it's quite it keeps things interesting.
Wow. And do you have kids, right?
I do. I have two little boys. They're
that's awesome.
6 and 5.
That's awesome. So wow, Colombian French. Wow, that's an interesting mix. I'm sure the food is amazing at your get-togethers.
Yes, it truly it is.
That's awesome. So you've been in the industry 14 years. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just to get started there.
Sure. Well, about myself. Oh my goodness. My identity is wrapped into my career. So I'm originally from New Orleans. Outside of New Orleans in Araby, Louisiana, which is in St. Bernard Parish. And I lived there all my life up until Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane Katrina hit. We're at 20, going on 20 years this
20
August.
years this year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when Hurricane Katrina hit, it destroyed my home, my neighborhood. Yeah, my way of life, everything. It really uprooted us, and our home was underwater for 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So we didn't have anything to go back to.
Oh.
Yeah. So we moved up. We moved north to Baton Rouge, and that's how I ended up here. In my free time, I like to be outdoors. Being a field adjuster, naturally, I was outdoors a lot. I still like to be outdoors. I like to go hiking. I like to go on the boat. We go crabbing still, fishing.
Oh my gosh.
All that good stuff. I spend a lot of time with family. That's really important to me.
Good.
When I'm not working. But
yeah.
When I'm not working, I also do my adjuster hour.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing some other hobby or activity. I'm always very busy, but I enjoy staying busy.
That's all. So tell me, just so that our listeners can understand, how often do you have the Adjuster Hour? I know it's a live webinar that you stream on LinkedIn. Typically, how often do you have it? Is it bi-weekly, weekly?
It's twice a month. It's twice a month. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So,
sure.
But you've been 14 years in the adjusting industry, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And right now you look barely 30. I can't even imagine. What you must have looked like how old were you when you started?
I was 21. I was barely 21.
Oh my gosh, you must have looked like.
I I look
The high
12.
school reunion for, the high school play, the high school dances over there, young lady.
Yeah, you bringing that up. It was really hard to get started
I
at
bet.
21, especially I was probably 100 pounds soaking wet. So when I showed up to your house, you weren't too excited. But it was challenging for me, and it made me who I am today.
Hmm.
So I welcome the challenge. I welcome that challenge and that adversity. And yeah, it was really, really difficult to get started in the industry, but I'm
Hmm.
glad I stuck with it because I've had a wonderful career and I hope that continues.
Yeah, I mean, I love adjusting. I think insurance adjusting is one of the. There's just so many different ways of looking at it. I recently was talking about how it's kind of like a trade, but
Hmm.
still you have a lot of like, customer service, computer work. What I love is helping people. Like you said, you went through
Yeah.
Hurricane Katrina. My wife, her parents. I'm from Miami. Went through Hurricane Andrew. My wife, her parents, and her three siblings were in a closet. That was all that was left. I went through many, many hurricanes, and whether you lose a little bit or you lose a whole house, it's still super stressful. And I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, we don't, adjusters. Oh, they're like, oh yeah, you guys are just dying for that next hurricane. No, we actually just come in and pick up the pieces. That's what we do.
Yeah. So
So the adjusting industry is, I just love just so many good things about it. So tell me, and I think I remember this from one of your webinars, but you got started because you had someone in the industry. Was it your aunt or somebody was in the
No,
industry?
no,
No.
actually, no, I'm first generation insurance adjuster over
I
here.
love that.
So
First generation. I love that.
first generation. I got started because of Hurricane Katrina. That
Hmm.
was my driving force.
Hmm.
When I lived a life. I look young. I am young, but truly my life could be a movie or a
Wow.
documentary, which is coming out next week. Um, I've lived a life, Pablo. It's been quite the life. What people don't understand is that after a catastrophe happens, there's the after effects of dealing with that catastrophe. And luckily, I came out of it okay.
Mhm.
To an extent, my peers did not come out of it okay.
I
People
mean,
my
you were
age.
literally displaced.
Yeah, yeah, and that's hard. That's hard on trauma. It's traumatic. But when I turned 21, I finished about a year of LSU, and I said, you know what, this isn't for me. Well, it was a year, and then there was some time in between that year,
Sure.
trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Hmm.
And one day I woke up and said, you know what, I can't live. I have to live a life that like I'm proud of. I have to have a
Hmm.
career. I need
Hmm.
to make something of my life, and it just happened to be insurance adjusting
Hmm.
because I wanted to do what they did for us for Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
So I obsessed over it. I mean, it was like night and day. The next day, I researched everything I possibly could. I mean, I was completely nerding out over it. And I started teaching myself everything about insurance adjusting, all the free information. I used Adjuster Pro
Hmm.
way back then, one of the early stages.
That's right. I think we had a
And yeah,
blog. I think Adjuster Pro had a blog. I think
yeah,
that
there
was
was a
about it.
blog.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
blog, and then I took the course. I think it was like freshly done,
Hmm.
and it was the Texas all lines adjusting. I printed out the whole manual on my company's
Because you had to write and highlight and make notes. You're just one of those
I
people.
did.
You're one of
I
those
did.
people.
I still have it. It's
That's
right here on my
awesome.
bookshelf.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And yeah, that's how I got started. I had a lot of passion and ambition, and I love telling this story. So I'll tell you the story too. I printed out 250 business cards
Oh gosh.
with Natalie Barbier, insurance adjuster, with my adjuster license on it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start networking. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to find me a job.
I love it.
And once I got licensed, it was literally like the next weekend. I was living back at home at my parents' house, and we were going to this party. And they told me, hey, when you're at the party, look for so and so because he just retired as an insurance adjuster. So I found Mr. Bob Holyfield. And so I went up to Mr. Holyfield and I said, "Hey, I want to be an insurance adjuster. Here's my business card." And he was
Wow.
like, "What? Why do you want to do this?" And
Did
he
he
was
say how
very
old are you?
confused.
Did he say how old are
Yeah,
you?
he was like, What are you doing? What are you doing here?" And he gave my card to Steve Brown at Brown Claims in Baton Rouge.
Oh wow.
And they emailed me and they said, "Look, I don't know why you want to do this, but you can come talk. You can come in one day and we can just talk and I can answer some questions because Mr. Holyfield was a great employee for, 30 something years. And it
Wow.
was kind of like a favor, like we'll entertain this." And I went in. I bought me a new outfit. I was just so excited. And it turned into an interview. And
Wow.
then the next day I got an offer. They would fully train me.
That's awesome.
The whole 9 yards. I would train with two senior adjusters.
Wow.
And they taught me everything I know. And I'm forever grateful.
Oh, that's wonderful. So
Yeah.
it's so funny because I tell people all the time, they think that this is like 9 to 5. You submit an application, then you have an interview, and then you have a follow-up. And I tell them all the time, you have to network.
You
You
have to.
have to network and go to networking events and those type of things. Um,
Yeah.
and how was that first? I mean, first of all, kudos to you for like printing out business cards with your license number and just handing them out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how was it for you like networking? I mean, I guess you were like 21, you said? I
I was
mean,
21. I was terrified. But I didn't want to live a life. I didn't want to be a secretary. I was just a secretary at this business.
mhm,
It doesn't matter which, it's just this furniture store.
yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be a secretary my whole life. What am I doing? And I had so much potential.
Yeah.
I knew that. And you know what? Sometimes you have to have that passion, that motivation to get you through it because it is so hard getting into this industry. Luck, I caught a break. But if
Yep.
I didn't put myself out there and prepare, because I was prepared,
Yep.
I asked the questions. I asked people, okay, how can I do this job? What needs to be done? Do I
Well,
want
you
to do this
educated
job?
yourself. You educated
Yes,
yourself. That's right.
that's correct. I didn't go in blindly and I didn't go in feeling like I deserve this job.
hmm
I
hmm
had to work for it. So
That
yeah,
that
that's my story.
and that's great how you discern that like college is not for me. And don't take me wrong,
Mhm.
I have 2 degrees. My wife has 2 degrees. I mean, I'm very proud of them. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you. Had I known about insurance adjusting back then, maybe I would have one. And
Mhm.
again, I'm not trying to knock college. I just
Of
dropped off my
course.
oldest at college last week, and I mean, it's just not for everybody. And I think there's this idea that everybody must follow this type of path. And
Hmm.
I love how you were like, college is not for me. And being a secretary at a furniture store, that's not my goal, you know. So you saw, based on your experience, of course, of going through the hurricane and being helped by adjusters, that is awesome. So
Hmm.
tell me a little bit about, okay, so you have 2 boys.
Hmm.
So as you know, I have 7 boys and I have 2 girls.
Oh
In
wow.
fact, the reason I'm wearing pink today is because my 8-year-old Faustina was like, "You're interviewing a girl? You got to wear pink, Dad. You got to wear pink." So I was
Gotta
like,
wear pink.
"All right, I'll wear
And
pink."
I'm wearing blue,
I'm,
of course.
yeah, my girls own me. But tell me what it was like, not only being young, because most of the people that I talk to are second career people who want to move
Mm-hmm.
into this. But I mean, you started at 21 and then you're a woman,
Hmm.
so, tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. Thank you for
Sure.
asking that because, you know, going to my first few claims, I quickly recognized that this was going to be a really hard job for me. And every claim that I went to, I had to prove myself that I was worthy to be there. And so, how do I do that?
hmm
I studied my butt off. I went to every CE I could. I read engineering papers.
Wow.
I did everything I possibly could to have a seat at that table, to be worthy enough to walk into someone's home and know what I was doing. And that's the first question I would be asked is, how long have you been doing this? Is your dad coming? Is your dad the adjuster? I've got
Oh,
asked that. I've gotten asked, okay, thank you for calling, but when is the adjuster going to call me? And I'm like, no, I'm the adjuster.
uh,
So I was met with that type of attitude and
Mhm.
just eye rolls, just like, just with like they were upset that I was coming to their home without giving me the opportunity to show them, hey, I do know what I'm talking about. Give
Mhm.
me, let me show you. And so I approached it differently. What was my strength? My strengths are listening and observation, and I'm unassuming. So that
Mhm.
helped me become a better adjuster because when I went to some of these claims, they would think, oh, I can get one over on her, and
Mhm.
I would just listen. I would just, take notes. I would, being a good listener is probably the number one skill as an adjuster because you have to
Love that.
listen in order to understand and comprehend what's going on here. So I took that to my advantage, meeting with contractors and public adjusters, that was very difficult.
I
They looked
bet.
at me and was like, okay, it's payday,
That's
showing
right.
me showing me what's hail,
Yeah.
it really wasn't hail, but they were showing me what's hail or, just things like that. And then moving on with my career in my life, having two children pretty much back to back, you can't climb roofs pregnant. So there comes a certain week in the at like 5, or you can't climb roofs at like, I don't know, 5 weeks or something after
That's
like
right.
literally once you know that you're pregnant, you can't climb roofs. Um, so yeah, it was a shift, but I worked until I was 8 months pregnant, going to people's properties, and
Wow.
it, yeah, and that made I look back and go, what was I thinking? But yeah, I did all kinds of claims, 8 months pregnant. And then yeah, it was hard. It was hard not being able to do the things that I used to do, like climb roofs and go in attics or
Did you get
climb
like a
anything.
did you get like a ladder assist or somebody to come help you in those type of
Well,
situations?
I just handled like water claims,
Okay. Okay.
water,
Yeah.
plumbing, theft claims.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to bad areas as a woman, you don't care until you have children.
Yeah.
Then you start caring. Oh, okay, I don't want to go to that area. I don't want to climb that
Mhm.
scary looking roof anymore. I don't want to do certain things. So having children really made me rethink my career.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can be both things. You can be a mother and you can also be a field adjuster.
That's right. That's wonderful. And I think I mean, that's just fantastic. Let's get into that in a little bit. We're going to stop real quick to give a shout out to our first sponsor read, IA Path. We'll give them a shout out in a second, and we'll touch base on that. That's a great point. If you've already gotten your adjuster license, but you're stuck wondering how to actually get work, check out IA Path. They created the experience-free career path for independent adjusters so you can get trained, certified, and actually land work even without experience of having to wait for the next hurricane. Over 50 IA firms waive the experience requirement for IA Path grads. It's not just a course, it's a career launching system. Start your journey at iapath.com and use the promo code Pablo. Hey, y'all, as you know, we just started this podcast and I'm really excited about the conversations we're having here. But I also wanted to tell you about, outside of my podcast, what I do. I work with adjusters one-on-one through my site, theadjustercoach.co. So I've been in the insurance game for over 25 years. And in that time, I've helped over 12,000 people get licensed. But here's what I've learned. Getting your license is only the beginning. I help folks after that build a resume that gets noticed, gets connected to the right IA firms, and figure out the best training for where you want to go. My goal is to help you get working faster with more confidence and to be there to keep you on track. If this sounds like something you need, check out theadjustercoach.co. You'll find all the info there on coaching calls, resume help, and more. Again, that's theadjustercoach.co. Look forward to seeing you there. All right, so we're back with Natalie Arroyave. We know that's how you say it. Adjuster extraordinaire, mom, up on the ladder with 8 months pregnant. I'm just kidding. Handling claims at 8 months. So you touched on listening, which I think is something that if it was difficult, 10 years ago, nowadays, I mean, I mean, that's something that I complain all the time. And I say you have to actively listen to people. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of work, as you may know, having a Hispanic husband, Hispanics, we're like, our brains going. And, it took a while for me to kind of train my brain and just say, be quiet and listen, be quiet and
Hmm.
listen. Um, so talk a little bit about that and tell me a little bit about, those soft skills, those professional skills, obviously customer service, but listening and communication, those are all kind of intertwined. Tell me a little bit about, you know, how important they are in this field and how you put them to use.
Sure. So listening is again the number one skill that I would say is in the industry that you need, because when you're listening, you don't know what you don't know yet, right? And so sometimes people say things that, how should I say it? They say something, but they mean something else. So
Hmm.
listening, observing body language, you find out more about the claim than when you're talking, when you're just speaking over the insured. Listening, you're gathering the information, you're able to focus on, okay, what's covered, what's not covered, what's my next move at this claim. And it's all about letting the insured get out those feelings. It's get to that therapy session. So
Hmm.
when I would go to claims, I would try to preparing the insured before you get there, having them write a list of items. Hey, go around your house, write down a list of everything you can possibly think of that you're going to claim. If you're going to, related to the loss, explain that.
Hmm.
And take that list, walk through it with them. I used to sit and go, okay, let's talk about the claim. Tell me what's going on. They would go into the therapy session. We would do that. We would do that. We would get that out the way. Once that's out the way,
I'm laughing because I tell people all the time this, like, you're going to be an insurance adjuster slash counselor. You're
yeah, you
basically
have
their
to get that out
counselor.
the way. You have to,
Yeah.
because you're in their home.
Yep.
So it's their rules when you're in their home. So I would take the list. All right, I have my list. I would walk around the house or business with them and go, okay, I see that you're claiming this. Let's look at it together and talk to them about it and get that out the way. All right, I
Hmm.
listened to you. I got your list taken care of. Now I'm going to start my inspection.
Hmm.
And I would start from the beginning and I would take my time and go around again and go, okay, what did I miss? Spending time at that insured's home, your time management is super important.
Hmm.
But one of the best sayings, and I'm probably going to get it wrong because even though it was said to me so many times, the hurrier you go, the behinder you get. So I was
That's
told
right.
that many, many times
That's
by my
right.
mentor.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so he would tell me that slow down.
Hmm.
You missed
Hmm.
something. Slow down. You'd never want to go back out to a
Yep.
property. So I learned keeping my mouth shut. I'm a talker. Obviously, I have,
Really? No, I
yeah.
would have never guessed. Go ahead.
My best friend laughs because she's heard all my stories. So when I start the pitch of the story, she's like, "Oh God, here we
It's
go. All right,
automatic. You just
the
turn it
business,
on. It's
yeah,
automatic, huh?
the business cards keep growing. It was 100, now it's 250. Uh,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
and so I learned that, yeah, keeping your mouth shut, knowing when to stop talking,
Hmm.
reading people's body language,
Hmm.
and you learn so much about a person by listening to them.
Hmm.
And that helps you in your claim. That helps you
Hmm.
when there's a fraudulent claim.
Hmm.
That's the best thing. People will talk their way into a corner when it's a fraudulent claim.
Yeah,
You just got to let them talk.
that's right. The F word in insurance adjusting, fraud.
Yes,
Yep,
yes, not supposed to say that. Yes,
that's right.
say it. But yeah, those are all skills that I learned. Critical thinking, obviously, you have to know the policy. How can you adjust the claim if you don't know the policy and know what's covered? You can't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, that's one of the areas where most people struggle because they think, well, I have these skills and I've learned this software, but they don't realize you also have to know if it's covered or not.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, oh, well, sorry, you excluded your contents. I'm not going to be able to replace your contents.
Mhm.
So that's great, great stuff. Tell me a little bit about, so you got your Texas license. Tell me a little bit about the stuff that you did to get better and better? Obviously, I imagine you got trained in Xactimate. I don't want to assume, but
Yeah.
Xactimate is like the word in the industry. Tell me about certifications, trainings, these type of things that helped you become better as you did more claims.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been a long time, but I did I would do just any training that came across my desk. I signed up for every single CE, every like the Donan engineering course. I think they had like a WIN certification. I think I did some kind of State Farm certification.
Of course.
I did the Hague
Mm-hmm.
Hague certifications, even the examiner, the examiner
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
certifications. But the way that I learned was under two senior adjusters.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go out on a claim with them and I would basically my secretary the claim. I would watch the adjuster and they would spit code at me. So we
Mm-hmm.
wrote in code. So if she saw it was a female and a male. So the female mentor, she would look at something and go, DRY 1/2. PNT, SP, 32 square foot, she would
Yeah.
just, and so I'm just writing it and then she goes, okay, write the estimate. And I'm like, oh, well, I got all my code. So write in code.
That's
And
awesome.
that's how I learned Xactimate. Sketching, my first sketch, I remember the roofer's name was Joe. I remember Joe, the roofer. And Joe saw my sketch one day and it was terrible. He never let me live that down. It was, I mean, it was sloppy. It was a mess, but you are not going to start out perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You have to practice. You have to actively want to get better. And so I was trained on Xactimate that way. I was the hard way. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn. And then in my spare time, I'm playing around with all the features. I learned
Mm-hmm.
how to do macros on my own. I
Wow.
did. Yeah, I never had any formal Xactimate training, but I can write an
Really?
estimate all in code. Yeah,
Really?
really.
Wow. And what version of Xactimate did you start out with? Like 24 or something?
It was very low. The numbers were very low. It was, yeah, 14 years ago on
Wow.
Xactimate. So everyone started getting, and I'm not, hopefully, I'm not downplaying the Xactimate training. I think
And
every new adjuster should get it,
yeah.
but I had to start the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just fine.
Oh, that's great. So you did you start out doing field?
Yeah,
Have you
straight to
always
the
done
field.
field?
Straight to the field. I did field for 11 years, and then I transitioned into the manager role for Minuteman. I
Mm-hmm.
was the IA firm manager over there.
Mm-hmm.
RIP Minuteman. They were bought out by Davies. So yeah, since then I transitioned to the inside. I call it the dark side. Gone to the dark side because I'm a field adjuster, true and true. I
Yeah.
miss it. I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Being out in the field, those were the best days of my life.
Because tell me why. I think field
Sure.
adjusting is just fantastic, but tell me why.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been to every single nook and cranny of Louisiana, every single city. And so my philosophy was, okay, where am I going today?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I had to go to a town right outside of Shreveport, which is 4 hours north of Baton
Mm-hmm.
Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sun shining. It's a beautiful day. I have my radio on. I have a podcast on. I'm driving to a beautiful little town in Louisiana because there really are beautiful towns
There
here.
are. There are.
People want to bash Louisiana, but we have some beautiful towns. And I would make a day of it. I would ask my insured, hey, I want to have lunch out here. What's the best place you want to you'd go to? And I would go to some hole in the wall restaurant that I never would have stepped foot in if I wasn't recommended to me. And I would embrace the culture of that town.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
I would even hit up a museum.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I would do the whole, I was a tourist for the day. Kind of drive home on my way home, just happy as can be because I had the opportunity to explore the state I live in. I got to help someone today. I got to
Mm-hmm.
see, and to me, there's nothing better. The flexibility, the, the challenge, fire losses, those are my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like putting a puzzle back together. I love that. So the job is fun,
Mm-hmm.
but the exploration, it was everything to me. So
That's awesome. Now, of
mhm.
course, you live in Louisiana, so
Yes.
you can basically commute to hurricanes
Yes, in my backyard.
in your
Hmm.
backyard. That's right. But obviously you've dealt with all type of claims.
Hmm.
Um, wow, fire losses. So complete, total losses and those type of things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, all degree of fire loss. I've handled every single claim, type.
Okay.
Because I started as a daily adjuster. I didn't start as a run and gun storm adjuster. So,
So and it's interesting because what people don't understand is like a hurricane comes through, and it's not that all the claims are going to be exactly the same, but there's a lot of similarities.
yeah.
And I've had a lot of well-seasoned adjusters tell me they love daily claims, but it's a challenge because
Mm,
one day you're doing, water heater broke, flooded your house. Next day you're doing kitchen fire. The next day you're doing, something else. Um,
yeah.
so do you have a preference?
Fire.
Did you fire?
Fire
Yeah.
claims all day.
Interesting.
I love a fire claim because I've also been through that where I've lost my home.
Yep.
Granted, I was 16 years old, but I felt like I was a mature 16-year-old. I could tell, the severity of what was happening and the results from that. But I'm able to understand to a certain degree losing your home. And I was able to connect with these insureds and listen and be compassionate. And I feel like you really get to know someone after such a tragic loss like that. And I'm going to tell you, it's okay to be friendly with insureds in a
Hmm,
professional manner. You don't have to be, you're not their best friend,
that's right.
but you can be friendly and have a connection with them. And some of my best insureds were fire loss claims where, you know, you're there to put their house back together, put the pieces back together. They're relying on you. I don't want to say it's a hero complex, but it kind of is.
It kind of is, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because they're so excited to see you because they know you're going to be the one that, like you said, you're literally going to put their lives back together. So it kind of is,
Hmm.
and I tell people all the time, I mean, you can have a great relationship with the insured and still be, you have that fiduciary responsibility where you're still
Sure.
representing the insurance company. Doesn't mean that you're going to give them whatever they want. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it really goes to show how important the role of an adjuster is as you lived yourself, but as you go
Hmm.
through all these claims, um, man, people they just want to talk to you. They just want to, know that everything's
They
going to
do.
be all right. Um, you know, whether you lose the whole house or you lost some siding and some fencing, whatever, it's still their property. It's still stressful.
It's their safe space is
Yeah,
what I like to call it.
that's exactly right. It's
Mhm.
still their safe space. Uh, and so, have you always done field adjusting just in Louisiana, or have you ever ventured outside of Louisiana?
Mainly Louisiana. I've assisted another adjuster on a cat loss before. It was an old boyfriend, I'll just be honest, to be transparent. Uh, and that was wild, getting in the trenches. It was in Kentucky.
Oh wow.
It was in Kentucky. It was a hailstorm in Kentucky, and I was thinking to myself, oh man, this is tough life. This is cat work is a tough life when you're traveling. But no,
Mhm,
I've always been in Louisiana. I've gone to Texas. Well, I've gone to Texas and Mississippi before, but
mhm. Well,
those
your
were
neighbors, your
those are
neighbors
my
right there.
neighbors. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
super easy to. Okay, I'm gonna go for a week, knock out some claims, go home, come back. But yeah, mainly Louisiana, and we get some hailstorms. We've had
Yeah.
hailstorms here. 2013, we had a very massive hailstorm on the west bank of New Orleans, and that lasted months. I mean, truly. So I've had some cat under my belt. Am I a true cat adjuster where I go to another state? I bring the RV? No, I'm not.
Bring
I
the
am
little
100.
camper, bring the camper, and some of your plants. I see you got some nice plants
Oh
back
yes,
there.
I have. This is only half. This is not even half of it. This is a tiny, like 16th of all the plants in my home. Yeah, but
So not
yeah,
not truly cat, but still out in the field quite a bit. Now,
yeah, yeah.
why, if you don't mind me asking, why the transition to desk and why do you call it the dark side?
I
It's
call
okay. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'll be transparent. I will be
Yeah.
transparent with
Yeah.
you. I feel like field adjusting is. the real adjusting, the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're adjusting a claim. And I'm not talking about the estimators out there. I'm talking about the real adjusters that
Mm-hmm.
still know how to read policy and can still write a report and tell you if something is covered or not.
Mm-hmm.
That is really adjusting. Coming inside and working from the desk, that's not that's not adjusting to me. I'll be I don't view it as, I just feel like a paper pusher. And
Yeah.
you're out there doing the hard work. You're out there being the face of the company. This is like, it's like the dark side. It's just, you know,
They don't,
not as
they don't
glamorous.
get to see you. They only hear a voice, maybe some emails.
And they're mad at you all the time. They hate you.
That's
You're
right.
the mean desk
Yeah.
adjuster.
That's right.
But
That's right.
yeah.
And when you're out on the field, when you're like face to face with people,
Mhm.
it's different,
It's wonderful.
because first of all, they're probably not going to be as mean if they're right in front of your face, but
No.
it also allows the adjuster an opportunity to show empathy, and I can't tell you how many times adjusters have told me, field adjusters, that they're like, I specifically look for other things that they fail to see that are covered,
Hmm.
just to kind of create like a bridge, like, oh, by the way, you missed all this siding over here, this
Hmm.
is also going to be covered. And then that kind of like diffuses the situation, and the insured is grateful for your, not only your professionalism, but the fact that it's not like, you know an adversarial role.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
I mean, have you been to like a social event and you're like, oh, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, oh, I'll help people get into the adjusting industry. And then they roll their eyes. Oh, adjusters, they just want to deny claims. That's what they
Yeah,
want.
everyone
And
has a story.
that's not true. Absolutely not
Yeah.
true. And what's the saying? I don't have an opinion. I have a policy. You
Hmm.
know, and I think that's the great part about field adjusting, is that you can really touch somebody's life, and it's not this distant, like. And again, I know I have my father-in-law who's been a desk adjuster for 10 years, loves it. Gets to put his laptop in his car and come visit us. He's in Miami. We're in South Carolina. He's got a daughter in Chicago. He loves that flexibility, and he's got great customer service skills. But me, I'm like a person to person. I enjoy being in front of those people, and I think you hit it spot on.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a little break now to give another shout out to one of our sponsors, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. I want to talk two things with you. I want to talk about what you're doing now with the adjuster hour and what your goal is with that, and then I want you to think a little bit about how much there's this 21-year-old young lady who calls you and says, I want to be an adjuster. What would you tell her? All right. And we'll start from there.
Okay.
Hi, guys. This episode is brought to you by Open Road Coffee, proudly based in the mountains of Columbus, North Carolina, built on a foundation of premium, organically grown, farmer direct beans, and a commitment to extraordinary customer experience. Open Road Coffee backs their products with 100% satisfaction guarantee. Now, Stan Yoder, the founder, who a good friend of mine, he's known for his meticulous approach to coffee. And I laugh because it's basically obsessive. We joke around that he speaks to the beans. But jokes aside, the coffee is amazing. After Hurricane Helene, he had major damage to his home and to the coffee shop. Yet he was open within 6 days, serving the local community, adjusters, and first responders. As a thank you to our listeners, Open Road Coffee is offering 10% off your next order. Just use the code CAFE, C-A-F-E, at openroadcoffeeroastery.com. I know that's a lot. openroadcoffeeroastery.com. Use the code CAFE, C-A-F-E. Grab a cup, support a great business, and enjoy the journey. Fuel it with Open Road Coffee. All right, so let's pivot a little bit. When I saw your bio, and of course I seen you in a couple of webinars, and I saw you on, I think you were with Matt Allen in Adjuster TV. That was great.
Mhm.
So you talk about business development and complex property claims, and this kind of will segue into what I want to get to. But tell me a little bit about the Adjuster Hour. Tell me what it is, where it's on, how often, and more specifically, tell me why.
Yeah, I'd love to because it's my favorite thing in the world. It's my favorite hobby.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was at Minuteman,
Mhm.
I was tasked from my boss to gather some 1099s and make them loyal. And I said, okay, how in the world am I going to bring in 1099s and make them loyal when we don't have a lot of claims right now? We're, start. Minuteman has been a TPA, was a TPA for the longest, and then they opened up their own IA firm.
Mhm.
And that's when I came in. And so I ran the IA firm. And so I said, okay, never done this before, but what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So when I come up with ideas all the time in life that I have to like write down and then revisit because they're too crazy that I shouldn't do it. Like I just canceled getting a tattoo because I like freaked out. Like I can't get a tattoo. What am I talking about? So I probably lost the deposit of my tattoo. But anyway, so I think of these ideas, right? And one day I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this thing. And my best friend worked with me, and she had her desk like in the corner back here. And I'm
Mhm.
like going on the computer. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna call it adjuster hour. I'm gonna put it on the calendar. We're gonna do it every single day, and it's gonna be great. And she's like, okay, whatever, whatever. So
It's like
I
happy hour, but just
happy
adjuster
hour.
hour.
It's just adjust, and it was all it is. All it was really open office hour for our active roster, 1099 active roster adjusters. But what I made it different. I made it unique. I made it like a little pop in where you can bring all your problems to me and to the crew, and we're going to learn about each other. We're going to help each other. I brought in guest speakers. I did little mini trainings, just like little fun little games to kind of like train them. And we got to know each other, and it became, this community where we started with one adjuster would come on every day, April. And I'm like, oh, there's April again. Okay, we got one person. This is going to be good. And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And sometimes we had 20 plus adjusters just hanging out on adjuster hour.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, we just created this environment that was just welcoming and non-judgmental. And so um, once Minuteman was acquired,
Mhm.
adjuster hour went away
Oh
because I
gosh.
couldn't do that at Davies. Or I
Ugh.
tried to do it at Davies, and all the adjusters like, this is some corporate trap. We're not coming. Like it's not a trap. I
What
promise
is
you.
this?
Yeah, I did it at night for them. I did it like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm on. I'm on. I had to like beg people, like, hey, just come hop on, and nobody wanted to do it. No, they were like scared. I'm like,
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, that's not going to work out for me. So what can I do? And I said, well, I loved having guest speakers. What if I just had a guest speaker on?
Mhm.
So I just started bringing in the guest. I just on a whim, I was like, you know what? I Googled how to do a podcast or how to do and I picked the first link that came up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So it was very, what is the word? Um, Spontaneous,
Organic, just very organic,
very organic,
Natural, very natural. Yeah.
natural. But I do have plans for adjuster hour. I do plan on having open forums where adjusters can come in like they used to and chat with me and get advice. And that's coming. So that's going to be a lot of fun, but I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. So where can they find you? Where is it at?
So I'm big on LinkedIn, or
Yeah.
I'm not big. I enjoy LinkedIn very much. And so I'm on LinkedIn a lot.
That's a great way of putting it, because I particularly don't like other social medias. I mean, there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with Facebook, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of adjuster groups on Facebook, and there's a lot of new people, and then there's a lot of, I don't want to say negativity, but it doesn't
There's
seem like, LinkedIn to me. What I like is is professionalism, and I love that you have your adjuster hour there. You did have one that was like at 10:30 at night or something. One of the last, you had
what?
one that was, well, didn't you have your second to last one was kind of late at night, but typically they're like 5:30,
No,
6:30.
they're always at 5:30 Central, but they
Okay.
replay on LinkedIn. So
Oh,
you
okay,
can
okay, okay. Maybe
always
that's
catch,
what it
yeah,
was.
you can always
That's what
catch
it
it on
was.
LinkedIn, and on YouTube.
Yeah, good, good, good,
Mhm.
good. And so the purpose of it, again, is
Mhm.
to tell me, because I love this, idea how you say turn chaos into clarity. I love that. I think you
Yeah.
should. I think you should patent that. That's just a great way of putting things. I
Yeah.
really do. But when it comes to, I mean, that describes adjusting in so many different levels. It's not
Mhm.
even funny. Uh,
Yeah. I think, when I interview these professionals in the industry, like I interviewed the fire investigator.
mhm,
Sometimes or I don't want to say that. Some people don't understand exactly what the point of a fire investigator is. When should I get them? Why should I hire a fire? Why should I recommend a fire investigator? And so I said, you know what? Let's just get one on.
Hmm.
Let's get to know them. Let's see the advice they can give us. And so instead of, you go to a fire loss, you don't know what to do. Now I brought that clarity. Okay, this is what I need to do and why. And I'll feel confident to recommend a fire investigator on my file. I can call the examiner up and go, hey, you need an ONC out here right away, and here's why. And just give them some confidence to know all these different players in the industry and feel more confident in their role.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think also the other thing is that adjusters think that, well, not they don't think, but a lot of the times it's just like you said, a fire investigator. I think it's great that you're bringing people from different angles.
Sure.
Like different type of, I would say, not vendors, but just people from different aspects of because there's so many different aspects to this industry. It's not just get my license, learn Xactimate, go in it and estimate it, and let's see what's covered and what's not.
That's
Um,
right.
and I love. I mean, you've had some really good guests in there, like Julian. We were talking about.
Hmm.
Julian amazes me of how well he knows Xactimate Mobile. Now
He's
think about
amazing.
this. Imagine Xactimate Mobile 14 years ago. How would your life would have been different? I mean, that guy he's a super expert. You had a gentleman on there. I don't know him personally, but I do follow him, Joshua Cruz.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
he had some great nuggets. I mean, obviously he's done it for a long time, and
Yes.
he's got the alphabet after his name of all the certifications and all the stuff. You know what I mean? So he's extremely well versed. But yeah, I had quite a few people mention that they really enjoyed that one. They learned a lot.
Hmm. He's
Because
wonderful.
sometimes I think people are just, especially if they're coming into this, you know, people lack confidence, and obviously it's because they need to be trained. But I've seen so many well qualified individuals that would be great adjusters, but they lack the confidence because they think, I mean, it's just overwhelming. And that's why I love having people like yourself here who are like, yeah, on the first day I was just trying to figure it out, because everybody has a
Hmm.
first day,
Everyone has a
um,
first day. Yeah.
and sure, now you're 14 years in, but you had a first day, and then you had your first fire claim, and you had your
Hmm.
first flood claim, um, and you can do this. Is typically what I tell somebody who, like I'll get somebody who'll call me and be like, yeah, I've been a fire contractor. I mean, I've been a contractor for 20 years, and then I have my mold remediation company for 5. But I don't know. What do you think? You think I'd be a good property adjuster? It's like, I think so. I think,
Yeah.
go get your license. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And so, in talking about go get your license and let's talk, so what is kind of like your theme when you talk to people that are like, wow, that's really cool, I want to get into
Hmm.
that, what would I do, what do you recommend,
Sure.
and I would love for you to hear you speak to somebody who wants to come into the industry, and then a young woman that wants to come into the industry, because let's take
Sure.
advantage that that's your life experience.
Sure. Well, I like to ask people, what's your motivating factor? Or what is the motivation here? Because I meet people that are financially motivated in the wrong way. And I talk about this a lot to my old crew, and I've mentioned it on my podcast. Yes, you can make a lot of money in this industry, but if that's what fuels you
Hmm.
only, you're not going to make it far. So I asked them, okay, what's the motivating factor here? Get to know them a little bit. But my biggest advice for someone coming in, especially at 21, I would ask them, what are you passionate about? Where's that passion come from? Because the passion fueled me, my story. Not everyone has to lose their home and go through all that and then go, okay, I want to be an insurance adjuster. You don't have to go through all that, but what is the passion?
Hmm.
And if it's money, you're not gonna, to me,
Hmm.
you're not gonna last. So I would find out, ask them that, let them reflect, have some inner reflection and go, okay, what am I passionate about? Because this field is glorious. I think the flexibility is amazing. If you're your own business, you're your own boss essentially. Yes, you have to, answer to the supervisor, answer to the team lead
Hmm.
or whatnot, but you are responsible for you.
Hmm.
Your name is your brand in the
Hmm.
industry. And that should excite you. If that doesn't excite you, then I don't know what to tell you because
No, but I love that. Your name is your brand, and that's so true
yes,
because you're like a one-person business.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So my name, Nat is my persona. When I'm Nat, I'm adjuster. I'm adjuster Nat, and that's who I am, and that's my
Yeah.
brand. And
Mhm.
I bring the passion. I bring the energy. And if you can't say one thing you're passionate about, how can you do this job? You know.
Yeah.
So I would ask them for inner reflection and but any advice for a young woman, I would say, look, life life is going to get real tough. It's going to get real tough for you, but if you have that passion, that motivation, you're going to fight through it. You're going to get some really tough skin and you're going to be really glad that you made it to the other side.
Yeah, and it's going to be extremely rewarding. And I think,
Yeah.
I was looking at now when you look at the Department of Labor, typically statistics are for staff adjusting.
Mm.
Um, but the statistics show that there's almost more women adjusters than male adjusters out there.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said, "Oh wow." But then thinking about it, I was like, "Well, who's better at active listening, men or women?" And the
Yeah.
guys, sometimes we can be like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing." You know what I mean?
Yes.
I've done this 200 times, 14 years. Just let me do what I'm doing. And I think women tend to like stop, reflect, and have that that type of
Yeah.
communication. Again, not always the case. I'm not trying to be general here, but I've seen that quite often.
Hmm.
You ladies tend to be better active listeners, and
Yes.
so just kind of to conclude here, what about would you recommend someone to come into this industry in 2025? Because obviously very different than 2011.
You have to be, you have to be, what is the word? Willing to adapt to change. I know there's like a special word for that. Adaptability,
Yeah, that's
maybe.
right.
You have to be willing to go with the flow and change on a dime. If you're not willing to do that, then it's not going to be for you because the industry, someone actually did reach out to me and asked me, hey, Nat, I got my license in 2023. Do you have some advice for me? And I read the message and I had to let it sit for a day because
Hmm.
I had to think, I didn't know what to tell him.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to be a bearer of bad news
Yeah.
that it's changed so much.
Hmm.
But I was honest with him and I said, start out at a small firm, reach
Hmm.
out to the small firm, you have to network yourself, and that's easily done at a smaller firm than at one of the larger corporations.
Hmm.
So I gave him that advice, and I would give the same to a new adjuster: start a smaller local firm, go to the office, get your resume, get a business card, be professional, and go and tell them, look, you know, I I'm passionate. I'm a passionate insurance adjuster. I'm ready to start working. Here's why. Here's my resume. Would you be open to for or a chat or a talk or an interview? Put yourself out there. And the day that you think you're done learning is the day that you're done. The day that you're gonna
Hmm.
hang up the hat,
That's awesome. That's awesome right
right?
there. That is
So
awesome right there. Yeah. And what's going to happen if you go and you talk to people and you network and they're like, no, sorry. Is that it? Is your life over? I think people are just kind of so
mhm.
afraid to network because they think, they're not going to like me or they're going to tell me no. It's like, okay, well, you move on to the
Yeah,
next company, you know?
it's a learning opportunity. Reflect on why. Why
Yep.
did you get that result? It's not
Hmm.
always about you.
Yeah.
It could be about what's going on with that person that day. And
That's,
you can always follow up with someone. Hey, it was
hmm.
great meeting you at this event on, last Tuesday.
Yep.
Are you willing to, revisit that conversation? Or, would you like to go to lunch? Would you like to just network in this industry? It's okay to just make friends. Don't, don't go to someone, right? To
That's
like,
right.
with the
That's,
idea of a job, go
yep.
to that person with the idea, I'm going to make a professional friend. I'm going to make a colleague in this
Hmm.
industry. Go with that mindset and you'll be
Yep.
surprised. You're building that trust. You'll be surprised what happens, especially when you're switching jobs and you're looking for an opportunity. You can fall back on those colleagues, that friendship and that trust that you've made.
Yep. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very, very much for being here with me today. Just an
Yeah.
amazing amount of nuggets. I love it. I think I really appreciate having you here. And I hope many people can say Arroyave the right way. I hope they can say it correctly.
You and me both, because whatever it comes out of my mouth is, I told my husband, I was like, it's just going to be Arayame for now on. And
Arroyave.
he's
I
like,
love it.
okay.
And we'll edit that part about going to Kentucky with an ex-boyfriend. We'll edit that out
Yeah,
for just for him. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you very much for being here. Guys, if you want to follow Natalie, obviously she's very big on LinkedIn, and you can catch her at the Adjuster Hour. When's your next one coming out? Typically they're on Thursdays.
They're on Thursdays.
Yeah, Thursday.
I'll post, just follow me on LinkedIn and you'll see the schedule posted. It's going to be great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. Really appreciate you having me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Natalie, thank you so much for giving us so many nuggets. I mean, the key lessons, there's just so many of them, but, have passion for what you do. Get well trained, active listening, find a mentor, and of course, network. So again, thank you very much for being here. You can find Natalie on LinkedIn. She's very active on LinkedIn, the Adjuster Hour on LinkedIn. Natalie Arroyave, if you can spell that, you can find her. And also you can email her to adjusterhour@gmail.com. That's adjusterhour@gmail.com. Again, guys, thank you for being here. Remember to subscribe, review, and please share this podcast. Coming up next, we're going to have Patrick Kimmel, good friend of mine who used to be a Dish Network installer and has knocked it out of the park the last 9 years. He's done excellent in this industry, a leader and a mentor. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you then. All right, guys. Well, before we wrap it up, if you're ready to take your adjusting career to the next level, please check out my coaching services at theadjustercoach.co. Theadjustercoach.co. Don't just get licensed, get deployed. Love to see you there, theadjustercoach.co. Take care.